Good evening, everybody. We are going to give a few more minutes to let people join us, and then we'll get started on our Eastern update about Loso Hall and the performing arts. So just hang on here a little bit, and we'll little bit more people, few more people get onto the Zoom. If you're joining us, we're just giving people a couple more minutes to join the rest of the group, and then we'll get started here with the tour of Loso Hall and finding out what's happening in our performing arts. Okay, well, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got some people online. We're recording, and we're ready. I think ready to roll here. Thank you for coming. I'm Tim Seidel, class of 1989. I'm the vice president for university advancement here at Eastern. In this series of events we're doing, Eastern Updates is an opportunity for us to provide information digitally. We can do a video conference. We can record this and share this information out with people all over, really all over the world, who are alumni and friends connected with the university, regardless of where they're located. Our agenda tonight is an update from President Insko, focused on the performing arts programs, including a live tour of recent renovations of our primary theaters in Loso Hall with an EOU student and a special guest. So we're looking forward to that. If you have questions, you can type them into the Q&A box, which on Zoom at the bottom should be right down there, a couple little bubbles there you can click on. And you can ask questions throughout the event, and we'll try to get them answered. That's why we have some other experts on with us to ensure that we can get all the information that you want to know about Loso Hall. And then we'll also be able to provide some additional information in that chat box in terms of links and important information you might want to have after the meeting. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tom, President Insko, and let him give us an update. Tom?
All right, thanks, Tim, and welcome everyone. Thank you for all of you that are joining us this evening live, and those of you that join later. It's a pleasure to have you here, and it's great to be able to spend this time together. I do want to thank beforehand our tour guides and our AV support that allows this to happen and for us to come together virtually. And I have to tell you, over the course of this last year, one of the things I've missed the most about having to operate our institution in these global pandemic times has been the various performances that our students put on, our community is engaged with and such. But if there's any silver lining in this, we had massive upgrades that we were going to be making, and you're going to get to see tonight, that would have really hampered our ability to provide the same kind of experience that our students have enjoyed in the past and will in the future. So at least the pandemic chose to coincide with times that we are upgrading these spaces. Tim mentioned he graduated from EOU in 1989, and I started at EOU in 1989, and I graduated in 94 with degrees in mathematics and business economics. And I mention this because I had the good fortune of being a student when Loso Hall was built and became a resource for student learning. The math program was and is based in this building. So I spent countless hours, many late nights in this space and little corners and various desks finishing homework and such. And I can still remember from the time when I was a student, the excitement of the new theater facilities and references to the state-of-the-art equipment and the spaces that were provided by McKinsey and Swartz Theaters. And I think everybody recognizes this is just such an incredibly important space for our university, as well as our broader community. And I have to say, much like me, Loso has aged and needed some repair and upgrades. And this, what you're going to see tonight, is the first of two phases planned for renovating and renewing Loso Hall. Really, so it will continue to be a hub of learning and enriching activities for EOU and the broader region. The $5.5 million that we're investing in renovation, and you'll be seeing during this tour, was funded through state bonding and is an example of Oregonians investing in higher education. So none of the cost of this investment, these upgrades, will have to be passed on to our students via increased tuition. We strive to provide every student that comes to EOU with the transformational education. And as Oregon's Rural University, we serve as a cultural hub for the region. And facilities like what you'll see this evening really allow Eastern to provide experiences to community members of all ages that they otherwise may never be able to see or participate in. As a student and now as president, I really cherish seeing students and community members perform and share their gifts with others, even as they might be pursuing other careers that are not specifically tied to the performing arts. Many times I'll see a student or a number of students performing, and I'll know them and recognize that they're not a theater or music student. And it's so wonderful that they can pursue this passion and share this gift that they have, even while pursuing other pathways at Eastern Oregon University. I have kind of a deep and unique personal history with the performing arts spaces and theater and music programs here at Eastern. Even as I pursued my math and business degrees, I took courses from Lyle Schwartz. What a great professor. Mark Kuntz, I took Intro to Theater from Mark Kuntz. Some may remember him as a theater faculty member. And interestingly enough, I worked with a new music faculty member who happened to be named Peter Wordelman when I served as the VP of Finance for ASEOU. So they're, just example of the rich history we have in theater at EOU. And if my memory serves me correctly, I think the first major production I attended in McKinsey Theater was Sweeney Todd, the classic. I can still remember that so well, enjoyed it so much. And I do remember being a student and hearing my name and words of acknowledgement from my faculty when I received the Student Service Award and the Business Student of the Year Award during the annual Student Award Ceremony. And I've been enchanted by the Island Magic Luau and International Show and Dinner. And whether it's a high school regional math competition, a regional high school FBLA competition, an awards ceremony, a graduation, or summer community theater, these spaces provide opportunities for discovery, engagement, and acknowledgement. And I'm pleased to be able to, for us to be able to upgrade these facilities. And I look forward to sharing these with you this evening. And we've got a great number of folks that are joining us that'll be talking about this. So Without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce Student Ambassador and Theater Minor, Garrett Moyes, and he's on hand to be our tour guide this evening. Garrett?
Yes, so my name is Garrett Moyes. This is my second year as being a student ambassador at EOU. I transferred from Treasure Valley Community College over in Ontario, Oregon, and I'm from Nissa, Oregon. So yes, we are Loso Hall. This is home to our math, English, arts and letters, and many other classes. So with the arts and letters, we've got music, so that's orchestra, choir, band, and then through the other arts, we've got 3D and 2D arts. So that's, for 3D, we have stagecraft. That's for any students who want to help build a set for upcoming plays. We have ceramics, we have pottery, and for 2D arts, we've got drawing, painting, and photography. We have film and digital. And as well as we have some other services, learning centers here, and some math professors' offices, and as well as English. So yes, we are outside Mackenzie Theater. This was built in the 90s, and now, as you know, it has been renovated as of June 2020 is when the project started. And one of the things, many things about this theater that has been upgraded is our new ADA system. So this allows people in wheelchairs to be lifted up onto the next floor. And then you'll also notice in the theater that some of the seatings on the edge of the theater space, on the edge of the seating rows, those seats can be rearranged and moved around. So without further ado, let's go see what's inside. So this is Peter Wordelman. He is our choir professor and music director here at EOU. So Peter, can you tell us what's new?
Absolutely. Good to see all of you, or you can see me. I can't actually see you. But this is the newly renovated Mackenzie Theater. If we pan out here just a little bit, you can tell the one distinct thing that everyone will notice right away is that everything is now blue. And the grand drape is gold, which we'll see in a little bit. But some of the specific things that we worked on in this project, if we look up in the far left, you already saw the elevator that's going to go there. But before we had maybe 4 ADA seats for wheelchairs. Now we have 12 specific spaces for wheelchairs. Plus we have companion seats that can go with them and are removable. So we have a lot more options that you can see. It's wide open. The old seating capacity for Mackenzie Theater was 446. And the new seating capacity is 436. So we did lose 10 seats, but only 10. So we were very grateful about how all of that worked out. And it looks absolutely beautiful. And if we look up here, I think Devon can get a shot. You see this grand drape, which we just put up yesterday. And we are now going to open it up and see what's behind the curtain. Well, we just happened to bring out the piano. So Devon's going to get a good little look at the piano. This was the new concert grand Fazioli that we bought about 2.5 years ago now. And so we just recently moved this back to the theater. And it's here. It was stored in being used in the music department during the last 1.5 years. And then if we go behind the piano, we can look and see that on the walls of Mackenzie, there's a large amount of new conduit. And David will tell you a little bit later about that, but that's all for new lighting and new sound. So we've improved from top to bottom and throughout the whole theater, all of the lighting systems and the sound system. So it should work really, really well. You can tell we still have the plastic on the lighting equipment. And probably the biggest thing with the lighting equipment is that we have moved to all LED lights. So our energy usage is going to go way down from what it was before. And then we can take another quick peek over on the side, and you can see the rigging system that controls all of our fly systems. And something we've never had before are the motorized lines. So for some of our heavy equipment, we can utilize those and keep them safe and sound and all weighted. So that will be a new process for us, which we have not been able to utilize before.
And so what do some of these upgrades mean for our performing arts students?
Well, I think we're going to all learn new technologies. All of the professors, all of the students are going to learn how to use this eventually. At the moment, we actually don't know how to use all of it, but we will figure it out. And I think that just visually, one of the things, if we look over on that side, can you pan back to where we came in? You probably didn't notice this when you came in, but you can see now that right from the lobby, you can walk straight flat on the stage. So now, whether it's a wheelchair or whether it's an awards event, people don't have to go up the steps and down the steps. They can just get to the side and come flat to the steps. So I think that's going to be one of our biggest advantages, especially for a lot of performances. We'll use it as well.
Awesome. And so what are some of the, I guess, challenges that we face just due to COVID and as well as our space being renovated?
Some of the challenges we faced is we still can't do indoor performances. And so we keep wondering, I look at the theater and I wonder when every seat's going to be filled again. And I can't wait for that to happen. And I think we will really enjoy that. We are going to do some outdoor concerts coming up the week of May 24th through the 28th. So that's an option that we're going to utilize. And we can also now do some rehearsals in this space. And it's large enough that we can still keep everybody distant apart.
Awesome. And so what are you most excited for all these upgrades to Mackenzie?
I think the lighting's going to be really exciting. I mean, I don't even know how it's going to end up, but I think it's going to be great. The sound system is great. If we look up there, you can't really see it, but there's a screen, a projector screen that we believe is 19 by 24 feet. So it's a large scale projector, and that will be used for many different things. And then the last element to come in, which will happen in July, is that there's an orchestra shell. And it's the ceiling portion. Before we had some white boards that we tilt to make a ceiling, because you can see how high this is, to keep the sound in. And that orchestra shell will be a match with the wood on the seats that you can see. So I think when we have it all open, orchestra shell down, I think it's going to be just a beautiful place to be.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. So Tim, we'll hand it back to you. You can tell our viewers how the EOU Foundation funds our performing arts program.
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that a little bit. The theater itself that everybody's in right now is McKenzie Theater. It's named for Glenn and Jean McKenzie, who are longtime supporters of Eastern and alumni as well, who put forth some resources when we were first developing Loso Hall way back in the early 90s. And so the theater is named for them, and they've since passed on, but their estate has provided resources for several projects, key to them being matching funds for that new piano that you just saw, which is really super top of the line, super state of the art type of piano. And if you ever want to learn a little bit more about it, you can just Google the right name of it. I'm gonna have to probably get it again from Peter because it's a pretty awesome piece of equipment that's in there, unlike anything that's really in this region. But that group also helped funded things in the theater area. There's also a lot of scholarships that we have through the EOU Foundation for visual and performing arts students, music and theater, that we are really happy to give to, and we continue to see resources coming in for that. So if you're interested, donors can designate their gifts to these kinds of programs if you want to make sure it gets just to the foundation in general, or if you'd like to specify the reserved for, say, the theater department or the music department, you can do that. And all you have to do is go to eou.edu/foundation, and all the information you need will be on that webpage. And you can support these awesome programs because of what they do, not only for our students here on campus, but the way this entire facility serves the region. So it looks like I'm going to looks like we got set up in Schwartz Theater, and I think we got some folks over here ready to go. So I'm going to toss it back and take it away in Schwartz.
All right, so yes, as you know, we are now in Schwartz, we moved across. So this theater is named after Lyle Schwartz. He was a professor here at EOU. He is still alive, yes, as we know, but we just decided this would be the best way to honor all that he's done and his long service of teaching here at EOU. So I'm here with current theater professor Mike Heather and project manager David Moore. So both of you, these questions can be for both of you. One of you can answer, just however much you're willing to answer. But just plain and simple, what is new about Schwartz?
Schwartz Theater is termed a black box theater, and they were originally designed to be more intimate, experimental spaces for small shows, and that's exactly what it does for our students. They have the opportunity to experiment for their capstone projects and all that. But if you remember the old Schwartz, the stage area, the acting area, was actually 3 feet below where we're standing now, and you had to access it downstairs and that. Well, what we did in the design process going forward, I asked if we could put in a turntable, and working with our theater consultant, they said, well, why don't you level out the floor to the rest of the building, we now have a new turntable, motorized, and then put in movable seating banks throughout the theater, and really turn Schwartz Theater into what originally is a black box, an experimental space with a lot of options and technology totally updated. So what we have, we can move these seating banks and reconfigure them into whatever we want for any particular show. So if we're doing sort of traditional and the acting is here, the audience is there, but we can move them so we have another bank back here and so forth. So we can do in the round theater where the audience is surrounding the action of the play or whatever. It's just, we have now hundreds of options just in seating and staging. Also, over the last 13 years since I've been here, I have constructed at least 5 turntables in this space, because one of the challenges of a black box, if you have a play that has multiple scenes, then it's just getting the scenery changed. Well, with a turntable, you can put a wall up to divide it in half, have a scene ready on one half of it, the action takes place, and then with a change of light and a press of a button, we can turn the turntable around and expose a whole new scene. So in seconds, we can change the environment of the play and just wow the audience with like, that happens so quick, and oh, they're in a totally different place. That makes sense for the story. And so that's exciting that we got a turntable. With any new thing, the vendors are still tweaking. So the turntable is slightly disassembled right now, but it's usable. We're excited. I mean, the students, though they haven't had access until recently, we just turned everything over to us, have been excited throughout the whole process of inheriting this, getting this to use, not only in Mackenzie, but especially here, because not only do theater faculty use it, but the students use it for their own productions. And that's, so they're just going, oh, that's cool.
Awesome. And so what can you describe more in depth about your roles in this project?
Well, this isn't my first project, if you will. I've worked at other venues where we've designed updates and new buildings and that. This is the first one I've had experience at EOU, so I was familiar how the whole thing unfolds in that. So I was, both Peter and I, and Luke McKern as well in the music program, as the 3 principal faculty of the arts, had great input on what we would like to see and can we make it happen within the budget that was allotted. And this go around, we pretty much got everything we visualized wanting to update both spaces. So it was a great process, and the contractors and the vendors and all have really accommodated our vision and updated the spaces greatly.
I worked with the contractor and design team in EOU to make sure that everything was coordinated well, that the owner project requirements were being met, and we're staying on track on budget.
And then so, just real quickly, I know, Mike, of course, you're a theater professor here, but can you kind of just explain some more about what you've learned about theaters in the process of this project? And of course, you can answer too.
Oh, what I've learned about theaters. Well, I teach the theater history courses, which I am stagecraft and that, so I relate theater architecture history as well in that. And so I was really excited that we were given the funding and the opportunity to update our spaces, but really get them up to date and current technology based on what I know of that's happening across the country. So now EOU has current theaters to perform in, both musically and theatrically, and this building with its two theaters, this Performing Arts Center, if you will, has been one of the best venues I've had work in my 40+ year career. So that's exciting. So I just took my knowledge of theaters of history and other places I've worked and said, this is what we need. This is what we need to do. And it's happening. It's happening.
And what have you learned about theaters too?
I learned a lot. Unlike Mike, this is the first performing arts theater project I've been a part of. So there is a big learning curve for me. Probably the thing I found the most interesting was just the amount of technology that goes into a theater and to delivering a state-of-the-art production. You know, you see the lights, the projector screens, there's all these audiovisual devices, and just the requirements for getting cables from the devices back to the boxes and controls is pretty amazing. You wouldn't be able to see it at this point, but there's almost 5 miles of conduit that was installed as part of this project, just as pathways for getting everything wired up.
Awesome. And so just what are you guys most excited about now that the project is over, we're about to open the theaters?
Just getting into it and using it, and that we, like I said earlier, that they've turned it back over for us so we can access the spaces. And we've actually started rehearsing 2 small capstone shows that will be opening the first week of June, and that to accommodate our senior students so that they get the full-on experience of being in a show, and then carrying that forward into the fall. And Peter and I have been talking music and theater, that next year is going to be a series of grand openings with every production. And the first thing that is on the schedule is the Eastern Oregon Film Festival. So in the past, they've had to bring in extra equipment and that to accommodate showing of films, because we didn't have projectors or screens in either theater. This theater has a projector and a screen. So they're very excited to come into EOU and just have to bring in their laptop, plug it in, and project. So that's exciting. So it's just great. I'm happy it's happened under my tenure.
I'm looking forward to seeing some shows. My wife's in the symphony actually, so it'll be fun when that gets started back up for the kids. The new theater to watch a symphony concert.
Awesome. So we'll hand it back to you, Tim. Viewers, this is your chance to ask any questions if you have any.
Awesome. And we thanks a lot, folks. We also have a new guest with us. The Dean Nat Lowe is Dean of our College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences has joined us. I'm gonna first ask everybody, since I don't think Nate's probably been able to meet a lot of folks. He was here and then we moved into COVID, and so hasn't been like we have a lot of chance to get out and about. So Nate, could you tell us just a little bit more about your background? Where were you before EOU, and how long you've been with us, and what you've been doing here in the last couple of years?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tim. Hi, everybody. My name, again, is Nate Lowe. I'm the Dean of the College of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. I arrived here in the fall of 2017, so I'm finishing up my 4th year as Dean of the college. Prior to that, I was in Wisconsin as a faculty member and a division chair and eventually a dean of a school at a small private university in the eastern part of Wisconsin. My background is in fine arts, so I couldn't I can't say too much about how much I value the arts, how much I advocate for the arts. Myself, I'm a creative writer. That's my background, literature and creative writing. I spent about 7 or 8 years in the Northwest, the inland Northwest, when I earned my graduate degree in Moscow, Idaho, the University of Idaho. And so when this job opportunity came up, it was really appealing for a number of reasons. One is I wanted to work at a small regional liberal arts university where the arts programs are intimately tied to the community that it serves, where all students have an opportunity to participate. So I'm really excited to be here. I am overjoyed by the opportunity to have these renovations in place, especially as we invite students back after COVID to have a more in-person experience in the fall.
Thanks, Nate. There's definitely a lot of things happening at the university and particularly in your college. Could you touch on just a couple of maybe the new programs that your college is working on right now?
Sure. Just recently, in the last year or two, maybe 3 years, we have added a public administration's degree. One thing that you'll notice if you go to our website is the college is quite diverse in its programming. Everything from the studio arts to the social sciences, where there's research methods taught, to archaeology, students and faculty digging in the soil on site, to literature and history, more traditional liberal arts programs. So we have quite a diverse variety of degrees that we offer. Some recent new ones are an undergraduate degree in public administration, but we are also in the process of building a graduate degree. I'm engaged with the theater and the art and music programs specifically in adding new ideas, new curriculum to those programs, music technology and production, rural music education, and in theater and art, expanding the curriculum to prepare students for those professional arts positions, careers. Also, we brought back a Master's of Fine Arts in Creative Writing, which is a Lowe residency program with a partnership with Fish Trap over in Joseph and Enterprise in Wallowa County. Some other programs that we're sort of in exploratory or development is a public relations degree, an undergraduate degree, and continuing to enhance communications and expanding into the social sciences.
So a lot going on. Needless to say, has not
been
a
little bit going
slowdown.
on. A little
Awesome.
bit.
That's cool. Well, you're talking about new programs. We also have some new tools in the theater, particularly in Schwartz there. I was wondering if we could get a little demo of how that cool new turntable stage works. Garrett?
Yeah, we'll show you how the turntable works. Mike's over there controlling it.
Garrett, tell us a little bit about what you're seeing there.
Tell us what you're seeing.
Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing there.
A little
You're
louder.
going around in the turntable.
It's pretty loud. Sorry, I couldn't hear the question. The turntable's a little loud. I don't know if you got any feedback, but it does make a little bit of noise once it gets going. So.
I think what the thing we want to make sure that the camera gets onto you in the Zoom here, so it pops over to you. So why don't you tell them you're going to start it up, and we can do it again so that people can see what's going on. Otherwise, the camera will stay on me.
All right, yeah, so we'll start up the turntable again. David is operating it. There's a little control box over there with a key and a few buttons.
That's looking pretty good, Garrett. That's looking pretty good. We should probably tell people that it's not really open for rides. You can't go over to Loso and get it. It looks like a little bit, like it could be a merry-go-round. We don't want to tell people that you just can't go over there and ride it. It's actually for theater productions. So thanks a lot. There's some great technology there we can take advantage of. I do have a few questions for our faculty over there. I want to know, Mike, how's it been teaching students about theater in a remote hybrid world? You're doing a very physical kind of classroom with people being on the other end of a Zoom classroom or on other end of a video conference. What's that been like teaching students remotely about theater?
Why did you mute me?
Okay. Well, theater in general it's been a challenge, and for me, I've taught hybrid classes, which are both online and in person, of course, mask and social distance. So for stagecraft, where we usually build and paint things, what I've been able to do is post a lot of information on Canvas, but we've met throughout the week through the term, but we have been able to get into the shop to do related projects to theater construction and painting and that. So I've been able to make it work. Last spring, when this first hit, I taught stagecraft all online and mailed projects to the students. And because I wanted to see if it would work. I wanted to see if theater could be, especially stagecraft, could be taught online. And so I filmed at least 30 instructional videos throughout the theaters before they started to renovate. And I mailed projects to them that dealt with scene painting and set construction and that, and it surprisingly seemed to work. And that, so I've done online, in-person, hybrid courses this year. And that I know Ken Wheeler, who teaches the acting courses, has done the same thing, hybrid online stuff, but met and done acting courses distance. They did have to delete duo scenes in acting and that, and Heather in costumes has spaced out the costume shop and accommodated, along with videos that she's shown and online information as well, in-person sewing and costume technology. So in theater, I think in this crazy world we're in, we've made it work. It hasn't been optimal because we have missed the one element of actually being able to perform for a live audience, because that's when it's art. That's when it's theater, is having a live audience and doing it. But we've gotten through it, and the students have gone with it, and I think we've done a good job.
And is Peter there too? Because I think folks are really curious as to Peter, what was it like to teach music, over Zoom or over video conferencing? How was it like? What was it like for you to teach those classes, and how did they go?
Well, a year ago, that's what we were doing. And it was a struggle, not only for the professors, but for the students as well. We kind of kept going. A lot of the classes that we were doing were in sequence, so we were already in. But since this fall, we've taught the majority of our classes on campus. And so we're lucky to have 2 larger rooms. We took a lot of things out, so it's just flat spaces. And we got to rehearse in the Loso lobby a little bit. And so we've been, I wouldn't say normal, but we've been in contact with people all year long. So it's worked. We tried some things that we thought were great ideas and they turned out not to be. And then we found some surprises that worked out really well. So I think overall we did the best we could. And like Mike said, we're really looking forward to doing some performances coming up.
Thanks, Peter. I had another question for Mike. And Mike, you touched on the Eastern Oregon Film Festival. That's something we've had downtown and on campus for a number of years now. Could you talk a little bit more just about that? I think maybe some people are maybe unaware of the film festival and its connections with Eastern.
The film world has a lot of film festivals, some more famous than others. But Chris Jennings here in LeGrand, who's actually an alumni of Eastern Oregon University, essentially was the driving force for a film festival, taking submissions from new young filmmakers, short films, full-length films and that, and create a festival. And I don't know how long it's been running. It's been at least 5 years or so, it seems like. And the one challenge of the film festival, and it has grown over the years to be a really big thing. I think they had Bruce Campbell attend the year before the pandemic started in person. And the one challenge is just having the technology and the venues to accommodate the growth. And now we have 2 up-to-date audiovisual spaces here at EOU to accommodate that. Also, the Liberty Theater is opening to a point where they can accommodate the film festival. So going into this fall in October, the 22nd, 23rd, when the film festival takes place, they'll be showing films downtown at HQ, at the Liberty Theater, and in here. And it's really exciting because it also adds opportunities for our students to see, but also to help to participate. We have several alumni that have started their own production companies here in Eastern Oregon and are filming films, and you'll be seeing them. So it's just exciting, and it's what's happening here in Eastern Oregon, and our students are getting involved and taking advantage of it as well.
It is really a unique program. I'd be probably get in trouble if I didn't also mention that in terms of filmmakers. We have an alum. I think we're all pretty proud of Sky Fitzgerald, who's a 2-time Academy Award nominee for documentary films, and that's just impressive. And he's from John Day, went to Eastern and has gone on and did some great things. We got some really exciting film works in production right now with alumni. They're making films and they're bringing them here. The film festival is really nice. We've been able to talk about that even at like the state legislative level and share it out with people really all over the world. So it's a unique program. I had a question here for David. Were there any big surprises along the way with this project? Anything that really you found out like, wow, that was something I didn't know before, or just something that we ran into?
Yes, probably the biggest surprise was Peter kind of showed you around Mackenzie. To accommodate the new areas for the ADA seating, some of these steps, we had to cut through the existing concrete steps and kind of make some flat areas. The building was built, I think it was completed in 1990. And so the plans we had from when it was built indicated that those concrete steps were about 6 inches thick. And we discovered that in reality, they were between 18 and 24 inches thick. So we had to bring in a specialty concrete demolition company with some big, powerful saws to cut out thousands and thousands of pounds of concrete.
So we were just making sure that we did it really well back then.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I do remember as a student when I was graduating, when they were just starting on this project, and I just remember a lot of concrete out there. Then a few years later, when I came back to visit, we had this whole new building, and it was really pretty neat to see it. But that's you never know what you're going to get into once you start in a renovation. I had a couple other questions. Peter, you mentioned possibly some outdoor performances later this month. Any other teaser information you can get for us, or where should we be watching for information about those performances and when they'll take place?
Yes, they're coming up. I almost forgot how to do performances because it's been a year and a half, but we came up with an idea that we said, well, what if we could just make music outside and make sound and have people outside? So May 24th until the 28th, we're going to be hosting what we call EOU Music Week. And it's going to start at 12 noon and go till about 5 o'clock every day. And our goal is to have music out there. The choir will sing, 4 to 5th Parallel will play. We have the Calypso Band coming from Elgin High School. We have the Grand Ron Symphony Strings coming. We're going to do some community music projects so people can actually participate with us. And we're going to end on Friday afternoon with Root Beer Choir outside. We haven't been able to do, they have a tradition of doing beer choir down at side A. So we're going to host a little root beer choir and have people sing. We're even going to get out the Eastern Songbook. So some of the old Eastern songs we're going to sing that day, plus some standard beer choir anthems. And the choir has been working on, we came up with some newly published pieces called 10-minute musicals. And they have casts from 2 to 8 people. And each one truly lasts 10 minutes. And it was something that we could work on that fit with our space and our numbers. So we'll be doing 8 of those. And the jazz band has a jazz musician, John Stoll, coming to perform. And we have a few other students that are going to sing as well. So it was meant just so people could come out. We have free parking on campus that afternoon. We arranged that. We'll have some chairs out. And it's just for people to come and go, very informal, a chance for us to just do something and connect.
Great, thanks, Peter. I think everybody's looking forward to that and looking forward to some performances outdoors. Just before we get wrapped up here, I wanted to make sure to check in with Dean Lowe. Nate, is there anything we've missed on here that we want to make sure to bring up when it comes to Loso Hall and your college in particular?
Well, that's been quite a tour, and I really appreciate Dr. Wordelman and Professor Heather touring us around. I guess I would say, I don't know if Mike Heather mentioned this or not, but we're doing a couple of kind of smaller private student productions, I believe in the Schwartz Theater, just with community member or campus community invitations for the actors and the performers. But that's the beginning of something that's exciting, that President Insko was mentioning earlier, bringing things back to normal, having new stages to perform on, inviting audiences, guests to come see them. I think that's what makes being on a small campus like this, in a community like this, so exciting. So I think that beginning to open back up to that normalcy is a really exciting achievement, and really looking forward to the fall as well.
Thanks, Nate. I think you really hit it there. We're all looking forward to getting some reopening going on this. I want to turn it over back to Tom for some wrap up there. Tom.
Thanks, Tim. That was really cool. Thank you, Garrett, for leading us, and I look forward to seeing you perform next year. And thank you, Peter, Mike, David, Nate, for participating in this as well. And I just want to highlight, Eastern was one of very few institutions throughout the region, and especially in the state of Oregon, that chose to take the hard path, figuring out how to provide as much in-person education as possible. Peter referenced that in terms of, they've been teaching on campus, and this has been challenging for faculty, staff, and the students, but we're persevering, and we have some exciting things coming. And And we're looking forward to a virtually normal fall term for our students and our campus community. So we're excited about that. At EOU, our mission, at least part of our mission, is to partner in discovery with our students so that we ensure they graduate with the competence and confidence to succeed. And we really hope that every graduate goes on to have a successful career and a great life. And that's defined differently. Tim, you mentioned Sky Fitzgerald, a friend of mine. He graduated in '93, a year before I did. We spent a fair amount of time together when we were on campus. And, you know, so here's an Academy Award nominee in the arts and theater and film in this case. And then I referenced earlier seeing students that aren't pursuing any degree, possibly even remotely close to the arts, that still get to be up there and perform. So literally anything is possible for students coming to Eastern and pursuing their particular path, because we do have that small, authentic environment for them to flourish in. And I guess I would close with, as much as I love watching students and community members performing in our theaters, and I'm moved the most each year, though, when we hold our student awards ceremony. And it's when I get to hear faculty acknowledge the many accomplishments of our students and see how they have developed deep, authentic relationships between the students and the faculty. And frankly, it brings me to tears every year to see that. And it gives me confidence in my personal contributions to scholarships for our students. It also inspires me to work as hard as I possibly can to be the best leader of this institution that I can be, because of the impact that can occur with each and every one of us focused on serving students and changing lives. And I would say that we're fortunate that donor funds weren't necessary to make the investments that we've seen tonight, that the state made those investments. And so our investments can go directly to students, and they really need each and every one of us. Eastern isn't inexpensive, even though we're the best value in the state of Oregon, arguably in the region. It still costs a lot to come here. And so I encourage listeners to give to the EOU Foundation to support student scholarships and experiential learning. You can see Garrett tonight and see many of our students performing, and it has a profound impact on them. And so I hope what you've seen tonight and what you experienced through other interactions with the university really inspire you to share your gifts as well. So be well, everyone, and go Mountaineers. Tim?
Thanks, Tom. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here tonight. You can click on, and we'll have a survey linked in our chat box here. You can click on that. You can copy and paste it into your browser, or click on it. It'll take you through your browser, and tell us a little bit more about what you think about this and what you'd like to see next time when we do one of these. We'll also mail this out to everybody on email that was here with us this evening. And then stay connected. Make sure to stay connected with EOU. A great way to do that is through social media. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Don't forget to visit our website frequently if you want to find out a little bit more what's going on at the university. And please let us know how things went, and watch your email for the invitation to the next Eastern update. Good night, and go Mountaineers.